The Real Estate Photography Podcast is brought to you by tourbuzz.net, high definition virtual tour and photograph hosting, now with interactive floor plans. Sign up for your free trial today. Hello and welcome to the Real Estate Photography Podcast with Mike Muriello. This is episode 121, exterior tip number 2. All right, so before I go on with any of those exterior tips, I thought I'd back up a bit and go into more detail than I did in one of the original podcasts about how to mount that camera on top of the pole. And cut into the chase, you have to build a tool, like a custom extension on top of that painter's pole to make it work out. And it really only consists of three things. The monopod head. I'll start at the bottom. The monopod head. I have a Manfrotto one. It was at my local camera shop. I thought it looked secure, so I got one. I'm sure there's other ones that'll do it fine. Not to be confused with a tripod ball head, and I'll explain why in a second. You have to, working our way to the left up, wooden painter's pole. I use a wooden one. I guess you could use a plastic one. I think the wooden one is fine. I don't know what advantages it has. This one caught my eye. I thought, hey, if I goof up, there's a couple other extensions I could use and use it. This one works fine. And then moving up again is your 1/4" 20 bolt, and that means it's a 1/4 inch in diameter, the bolt, and it is 20 threads per inch. That's the standard size for tripod and monopod heads, not to be confused with a ball head. This is what I was talking about. Your ball head, which secures to your tripod, is a different diameter. I'm not sure which one it is. I'm sure someone else could clarify that. I don't know, but this one is a 1/4 inch 20. Make sure you get that one. Basically, you gotta use the hacksaw or whatever saw it is you're using to get through this thing. You can saw through the wood, pretty easy to do. Then you got to saw through the 1/4 inch 20 bolt because when you buy it at a hardware store, it's pretty long. You don't want it to go all the way through. But I sawed this one off. It goes about halfway down, so it's the right size. It gives you a lot of stability. Drill through with a drill press. Hook this 1/4 inch 20 bolt up to the drill press as if it's the drill itself. Hold tight onto the wooden painter's pole and just basically drill the bolt right in there. The trickiest part is making sure that you go straight in. So it's not that complicated. I also should say it's not expensive. The most expensive part of this entire operation is whatever monopod head you get. Keep in mind, you don't want to cheap out because that's what's holding your camera up. So when it's all said and done, this is kind of what it looks like. It's not that attractive, but it is extremely functional. And on the other side of this monopod head is where you can adjust the tilt, the angle of the camera, so to speak. So I have mine tilted down. I think that's about where it really is at the moment. You want it tilted down because if you're using an infrared remote, which is what I use, you have to be able to see the sensor, or I should say the infrared remote has to be able to see the sensor, which is in my case, I'll just jump to this, which is, well, it's right behind this little red stripe there. It's on the handle, the grip, I should say, of the camera. So you need to kind of angle it down, which means you put the pole at an angle going backwards and everything becomes on level. So basically what I do for the camera is I use, at the moment, a D40 with a wide-angle lens strapped on it and the IR remote. The IR, I said this before, I haven't had any problems. I don't know, maybe I'm just not shooting at that exact moment where there are problems with sunlight, but I haven't had any problems with direct sunlight impacting whether or not the infrared would go off. Lastly, you need a painter's pole. Maybe this is also kind of the expensive part aside from the monopod head, but it's not that expensive. Go to your local hardware store, shop around. I don't know. I googled Mr. Long Arm. This is one that showed up. I don't use any of these. I should let you know. You see how it has the twistable, adjustable extension? I don't. Mine is fiberglass, but I don't use that. There's one out there I really like. It's got a push button. It's got a push button lock, which basically allows you to push the button, hold it in, and extend it and let go. It's extremely simple to use as opposed to doing all this twisting because it's easy to twist while the camera's down and while the pole is not extended. But once you extend that thing all the way out, maybe it's 15 feet, when you go to lock it, it'll be sliding around. It's not the easiest of ways to deal with it. So I don't know, spend the extra $10 and get the one with um, a button on it. Also, I should also mention the length of the pole is dictated by your vehicle. Whatever. You got to remember, will this fit into my car, or truck or van or whatever it is you have? You got to keep in mind, if it, you can get a 30-foot telescoping pole. That's fantastic. You're the man. Whatever. But if it doesn't fit in your car or truck, it doesn't. You can't take it on jobs with you. I don't know, and I wouldn't feel that comfortable mounting it to the roof of my car, especially if I were other drivers on the road. So at the very end of the day, you've got just a great picture here, just all three, one after the other. And I should say the whole system is only as good as the tool that you've built. If you did not build this securely and you didn't take the time to make sure that it was done right, you used the right parts, whatever, this is gonna fall or whatever, or it'll slip down and you're not gonna get what you want, or it'll spin around because you didn't secure the bolt. Make sure you take the time and do it. Like I said, not expensive, just takes a little bit of ingenuity, and you'll be able to mount basically any camera you want on top of a painter's pole to get those elevated exterior shots. All right, I think I've talked enough. Starting to get tired of hearing myself. All right, thanks for listening. Bye.